The paradox of an infinite universe. There's a moment that can only happen when the world around you falls completely silent. Maybe you're on a mountaintop or lying alone in a field staring up at the stars. And in that stillness, something ancient stirs inside you, a question that feels both deeply personal and impossibly vast. How far does this go? Is there a place where it ends? Is the universe infinite? And if not, what lies at the edge? This question doesn't just belong to scientists or philosophers. It belongs to every child who's ever looked up and wondered, to every late-night thinker caught in the swirl of stars, to anyone who has ever felt small and infinite all at once. We now know the universe had a beginning. Roughly 14 billion years ago, space itself was born in a moment of incomprehensible energy. Since then, it's been expanding, galaxies racing away from each other like glitter scattered across a stretching balloon. But if something is expanding, doesn't it have to expand into something? Doesn't there have to be an edge? The answer is yes and no. The part of the universe we can observe, the observable universe, does have an edge of sorts. It's not a physical wall, but a limit in time. Because light takes time to travel, we can only see as far as the oldest light that's reached us. That edge is about 45 billion light years away in every direction. Beyond that, the light simply hasn't had time to arrive. It's not that nothing is there, it's that we're too young to see it. That's the first paradox. We live inside a bubble of visibility, not because we're in the center of the universe, but because we're at the center of our own experience of it. What we see is shaped by the speed of light, by time, and by distance. And what lies beyond is a kind of cosmic ghost. Present but unreachable. But here's where things begin to twist. If the universe is infinite, then that boundary we see isn't the universe's edge. It's ours. Just a horizon that recedes the farther we travel. No matter how far we look, there is always more. More galaxies, more stars, more space. But what if the universe isn't infinite? What if it's just incredibly big, yet still has a limit? Think of an ant walking across the surface of an orange. To the ant, the surface seems endless. It can walk forever without finding a wall. And yet the surface is finite. The ant might travel far, but eventually it would return to the spot it started from. A finite space with no edges, no outside. Now replace that orange with something we can't visualize. A three-dimensional version of a sphere, called a hypersphere. That's one possibility for our universe. No boundaries, no outside, just space curving in on itself so subtly and completely that if you traveled long enough in a straight line, you might eventually find yourself back where you started, without ever hitting a wall. That might sound strange, but it solves the problem of edges. If space loops back on itself, there's no need for a cosmic end, just an eternal, seamless curve. But what if the universe is even weirder than that? Some scientists suggest the universe could be shaped like a hyperdonut, a torus in higher dimensions. In this shape, space not only loops back on itself, but does so in different ways depending on the direction you're going. Imagine flying a spaceship in a straight line and returning to your starting point. But if you went in a different direction, it would take you much longer. You might see distant galaxies appear in strange places. You could even see the same galaxy twice or more. Reflections of cosmic events at different moments in time, playing out in a hall of mirrors stretched across space. In a universe like this, the very fabric of reality becomes playful, echoing, looping, twisting in ways we can barely imagine. It's not just the shape of space that changes, it's our idea of what space means. And then there's the infinite, a universe without end, without edge. A universe that stretches forever in all directions, with no boundary, no loop, no return. Just more. It's hard to even talk about infinity. It's not just really big, it's something beyond measurement, something that never stops. If space is infinite, then everything that can happen might happen. Somewhere far beyond the reach of any telescope, there might be another planet just like Earth, with someone just like you. Watching a video just like this one, right now. This is where the mind begins to spin. Because if everything in our universe is made from a limited number of particles, arranged in a limited number of ways, and if space is infinite, then sooner or later, those arrangements must repeat. Not just similar planets, but identical ones. Not just people who resemble you, but perfect duplicates, an infinite number of them. Of course, that doesn't mean you'll ever meet them. The distances between these repeats would be so unfathomably large, it might as well be impossible. If the observable universe is like a grain of sand, your cosmic twin might be trillions of entire beaches away. And yet, the possibility lingers, a faint echo in the dark. But now here's the part that really rattles us. If the universe had a beginning, if it started from a single moment of expansion, how can it be infinite? How can something that began as a point grow to become endless? It turns out expansion doesn't mean there's a center that everything is moving away from. It means space itself is stretching. Imagine a loaf of raisin bread in the oven. As it bakes, the dough expands. The raisins move farther apart, not because they're flying through the bread, but because the bread itself is growing. In the same way, galaxies aren't flying through space like bullets. Space itself is expanding between them. And if space was already infinite at the beginning, then it remains infinite. Only now everything is farther apart. But here's the kicker. We don't know for sure. We don't know if the universe is infinite. We don't know its true shape. The data we have only covers what we can see, our tiny observable bubble. Beyond that, it's mystery. The answers are hidden in the silence beyond the stars. And maybe that's okay. Because even if we never learn the true size of the cosmos, even if we never find the edge, or prove that there isn't one, what we can know is already breathtaking. We know that light from ancient galaxies has traveled for billions of years just to brush against our eyes. We know that in this vast silent ocean, we've carved out islands of knowledge and wonder. We've learned how to ask questions the universe never promised to answer. And in doing so, we've discovered not just where we are, but who we are. So is the universe infinite? We may never know. But in trying to find out, in daring to look, to question, to dream, we touch something just as vast. We touch the human spirit, that unquenchable thirst to understand, to explore, to reach beyond ourselves. And in the face of that immensity, we're not small. We are exactly what the universe needs us to be, its voice,